Chapter 1. The Mansion Down the Street. Dad, get out of my room. I will never forgive you. I hate you. I will hate you forever. I cannot believe you did that. I say, taking my computer monitor and throwing it through the glass of my bedroom window. I will never forgive you, I bellow, with tears in my eyes. Times later. I've been living on this street, Holden Street, for as long as I can remember. For as long as I can remember, there's been an old mansion at the end of the street, sitting at the end of an old, winding, dead-end dirt road. We must pass by the old mansion whenever we want to use the main road. Whenever we passed, it had always had me wondering. It is as if it's old wood, or perhaps it was the roughly painted, half-falling-off shutters. Something always got me thinking when we drive by the old mansion, thoughts that would say I must have that house. As we pass by the old mansion, I hear my mom and dad talk worriedly about the future. My dad works as a banker. My mom is a daycare provider. They began to ask one another what they were going to do with me. I recently stopped schooling because a virus moved into town, and my parents did not want me getting sick. I'm not the only one in my family that cannot go to school. I have a 10-year-old brother and an 8-year-old sister. Plus, I have a regular friend, Steph, that visits several times a week, along with mine and her friend Tom. We all do not go to school anymore. Steph and Tom are over almost every day, except when their parents think they are up to no good. Lately, Tom, Steph, and I have been close. We are always hanging around one another. As far as we were concerned, we were family. Once in a while, my 10-year-old brother will hang out with us too. His name is Frog. He usually brings along our sister Sally. Frog has brown hair and brown eyes and appears to be as old as me. I think I accidentally made myself look better than him, and now he kind of fakes it or is older somehow. Sally has brown hair as well. Frog and Sally could be taken as twins, but Sally looks much younger. They do not go to public school now, so they are always around me and my friends, pretending that they are doing what they see the other children doing on television. Steph adores Frog and Sally. She pretends to be their mother. It gives her a job. Once in a while I can get jealous of my siblings. I hope they're not stealing my friends, I say to myself. Most of the time it's my problem, not theirs. Steph has beautiful purple hair. Miss Purple I call her from time to time, moments of play. Her blue eyes make her an incredibly attractive young lady. She's 14 years old and regularly spends time outside the house. Tom, on the other hand, rarely goes out. This until he is with Steph. Tom wears circle eyeglasses. I rarely get a chance to see what color his eyes are. Big, thick, black circle glasses he wears. That's how I think of him. Big, circle glasses. If he were to take off his glasses, I for sure would not recognize him. He met Steph a little under a year ago and spends a lot of time out with her. Beforehand, most of the time he was in his room, working on his toy airplanes and trains. Model trains and airplanes is how Tom met Steph. Steph's father owns a hobby shop, and Tom will go out there from time to time to buy paint for his toys. He never noticed Steph in there before, but one day Tom needed help finding paint. Steph was the person who helped him find the paint he was looking for. He was drawn to Steph's purple hair. No one in the small town, or rather the outskirts of the small city, had purple hair. Tom was an average boy, brown hair and circle eyeglasses. He did not know how to treat someone with purple hair. She told him her hair was naturally purple. For not 1 second did Tom believe that. He was so scared about something that he never checked to see if it were true. When she told me her hair was naturally purple, I figured it was a cover for being plainly dull, that she invented the idea to add some excitement into her life. To fit in with her, I asked my parents to buy me some purple hairspray. They did, and so most of the time my hair is purple as well. I've only known Steph for a few months, and ever since I met her, I've been drawn to copy her every move. I try to keep her around me as much as possible. If she wears black, I would change into something black, just so we'd have something together. Tom took notice of my attraction towards Steph and decided to help me. Tom and I met a long time ago. We met in first grade. He's the reason Steph and I are friends. He told Steph that I was a friendly person, popular, and whosoever I liked was kind of special, not to be taken lightly. So as soon as I started copying Steph, she thought she was special and popular, felt free to do as she pleased, whether in school or at home. And as soon as she found out my father was wealthy, she filled what she thought was the shoes of a rich child. She was not wealthy. Her family was rather poor, living on a few dollars a day. It was possible to live that way, I slowly figured out by being around Steph and her family. For instance, I thought everyone would shop at a grocery store, but they do not. And as far as buying a soda at a gas station or corner store, that was rather impossible for Steph. Her family would buy beans, 20-pound bags of beans at one time, sort of like one would buy grain or pet food. After spending some time with her mother, I concluded shopping was easy. All one would need to do to feed a family of 4 for a month was buy a 25-pound bag of rice and a 20-pound bag of beans. This is basically what they ate for an entire month. They appeared to be healthier than my family. I could almost feel like a bad person when I invited Steph to get a soda or a candy bar. I could almost say to her, "Do not tell your parents," but that could be even worse. I figure if she likes it, the candy or soda, she will not put herself in a situation that could cause her to lose it. Tom said she takes this stuff, candy and soda, just to fit in and pretend she's rich too. I didn't want to think about it. Such could hurt my acceptance of life as it is. Tom does not say much about this, but I think his parents are wealthier than mine. He seems to like casting the full weight of popularity on me. Tom kind of tossed and left the weight on me about the whole popularity thing. Looking back, I liked how Steph treated me. She thought of me as popular. I didn't actually know what I was doing, but I figured I would give it a shot. I would lead Steph. The first courageous thing I decided to lead Steph in doing was exploring the old mansion on the old dirt road, the one right down the street. I figured we would not find much trouble because no one lived on the old dirt road. Steph, you know, one popular thing that popular people do is go on adventures, and I have just the adventure for you, I say. Like what? Steph replies. There's an old mansion not too far from here. Strange, very strange people have said, very strange things people have said have happened there, I disclose. Like what? Steph asked. Well, strange things like puppets that move on their own or mirrors that look back. I influence making it up. I say the first thing that came to mind. I needed to impress Steph. We walked over there to investigate the windows. Or rather, we should walk over there and investigate the windows, perhaps even go inside, so we can find these strange things. Maybe there are puppets over there walking around right now, just waiting to be seen, I exclaim. Okay, let's go, Steph answers. Tom, you coming? I anxiously ask. Yes, he says. We begin to prepare ourselves for a brief walk over to the old mansion. We had to make sure we would not appear as if we were going to make trouble. Mom, we're going behind the house. We want to walk along the river, I say, covering up what we were really doing. Okay, do not go far. Your father will be back soon, my mom replies. Steph, Tom, and I walk out of the front door of our suburb home. Houses were on both sides of the street. We did our best to appear as if we were just walking, taking an average walk. We did not want the neighbors suspecting anything odd, anything they would need to report back to our parents. We stayed quiet to one another on the way over to the old mansion. Within minutes we were on an old dirt road. About 100 feet down the old dirt road stood the old mansion. It was dark red in color, had a small driveway leading up to it. As we walked up the driveway, Steph says, Well, we made it. It seems like the rest of the house is nothing out of the normal. This is not the room where we must get close to it, perhaps even walk inside. If we walk to the front window and we don't see anyone, we will try the front door, I say. We will look together, Tom bravely says. We slowly walk up to the window and peek into the inside. We see nothing except a few pieces of furniture covered with white sheets. Looks clear, Steph says. Okay, now we walk to the front door and we walk into the inside, I say. We sneak around to the front of the building. We walk to the front door. I gently grab onto the door handle and begin to turn the knob. opening the door. Hold on, wait a second, Steph says. How strange are the things that have happened here. Do not be scared, Steph. They were not that strange, just a few objects seem to have moved on their own, I say, making up the story to fit in with Steph's emotions. I open the door. Steph fearfully grabs hold of my arm, hoping to not find a ghost or even worse, its owners. We walk into the insides. See, there's nothing to be scared about. It looks normal as can be, I said, comforting Steph. Jill, Steph says. Jill, that's my name. I suppose you're right. There is nothing to be scared about. We quietly walk round the first few rooms of the old mansion. We see nothing. We explored until Tom advises we should leave, so we did not get into too deep an explanation and find trouble. We listened, and we began to walk out of the house, and as we approached the front door, Clutter seemed to have been thrown in the front of the door. That was not there when we came in, right? Tom asked, hoping that nobody was in the house. We at first did not answer, and we just kind of somehow did not see it. Once we were outside and back on the dirt road, Tom asked, You saw the clutter, right? It was not there when we walked in. Steph asked, Are you sure? Because that doesn't seem right. I'm positive. I looked at the exact spot when we walked in. I remember because I was too scared to investigate the room, Tom explains. Even if it was not there, I did not look hard enough to remember, I say, and took Tom aside and quietly whispered into his ear, I made up the weird and strange things happening at the mansion. It's a normal mansion, Tom. No way, Tom loudly says. I know what I saw. That clutter in front of the drawer, Jill, was not there. Trust me, it was not there. Even if it was not there, it does not matter. It's not like it's a bad house. I want this old house. Sometimes I make believe it's mine, I affirm. Steph, overhearing us, says, How about we go back inside and just double check to see what we find? I really, seriously do not believe it. I did not look at that spot when we walked in, so I do not know if it was there, but I do want to see something else. That is the reason why we came over, Steph says. Ghostly things happen here. We looked one at another, and we agreed we would walk back into the mansion. We arrived at the front door, and the clutter was still there. I softly stepped over it. We walked through the first room. Everything looked fine. We arrived at the second room and looked at the closet. The closet I spent much time at because I was daydreaming it was my closet. We looked and noticed clutter was thrown throughout the room. The stuff that was in the closet was now everywhere in the room. Hats, paper, clothes, trash, etc. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. All of this was in the closet, I say. There must be someone else in here. Like you mean a homeless man or something, Tom asked. No, we should leave. What type of homeless man would throw everything out of the closet, I declare. We ran out of the house, not looking back and fearing for our lives. We make it to the end of the driveway and begin to walk home. I do not know what that was about, but we should not go back in there, I express. Was it wrong? Steph questions. We went there to see strange things. I mean, should we not be excited or something? I try to pretend to be strong. I know I had to be strong. After all, I was the one that let us out here, trying to convince Steph I was popular. I never thought something strange would happen. Yes, we should be excited. That is what I meant. That is what popular people do, I say, covering up my fear. Tom looked at me as to comfort my confusion. You know what, Jill? It'll be alright. It was probably the wind or our minds playing tricks on us. It's not like it will follow us back to our house. Once we get back home, everything should be fine. I opened the door to my house. In a daze I noticed Frog and Sally running up to me, bringing me back to reality per se. Where were you, Sally asked. Yes, I thought I saw you down by the old mansion, Frog answered. Huh? How could you have just seen us? I wonder if my parents drove by the old mansion. To cover it up, I decided to test out Frog. I said, No, you should not have seen us. We were in the backyard the whole time. I was just joking, Frog answered, and began to laugh. Steph, you said you were going to play Candyland with us, Sally said. Steph looked at me and said, Come on, let us go play Candyland. As we were playing Candyland, I rolled the dice, and the dice hit the board. Frog says, The old house down the street. Well, Dad said it was sort of like this game. If you make believe Candyland, you'll see candy gush out of the walls. Sally added, He meant not real candy, but if you were to pretend candy or rather a nice house, to you it becomes a nice house. Candy will not literally gush out of the walls. I was so lost at the moment. At first I thought Frog meant that if we made believe Candy to be there, it would sort of like we did made believe in strange things at the old mansion, and then once we made believe, the candy or strange things would come true. But once Sally put it into context, I could see Dad saying that. He's always telling us to pretend we are happy, and in doing so, that will make us happy. Steph looked at me after Frog's comment and said, maybe we should go over there to the old mansion and see if we can make candy gush out of the walls. I gave her a look of no, but she insisted. But we walk over there very quickly and take a look and make believe. Maybe candy will come to us. Yes, Frog said, full of excitement. Sally agreed. Okay, very quickly, but we cannot go inside the house. We will just walk to the porch, I said. We all agreed and quickly got up from our board game. We hurried over there. Once we got to the porch, Steph says, Frog, how or what are we going to make believe? Candy, Frog says. Candy, candy, gush out of the walls, he says in a loud voice, and then begins to laugh. Nothing happened at first. After a minute, we heard a noise. What could it be? We all looked in the direction the sound was coming from, wondering what could be making footsteps. The door handle on the front door begins to move. We gasp as the door swings open. We scream. We begin to run. I look back as I'm running to see who it was. To my shock, I saw my dad. At this point, I was relieved, not considering I could be in big trouble. I could not tell which was more frightening, seeing my dad or seeing the monster. In the midst of fear, I was glad to see my dad. Dad, I say, full of surprise. Jill, children, what are you doing out here? My dad asked. I could not find the words. Sorry, Mr. Flippy, Steph says. It's my idea. I wanted to make believe with Sally and Frog, and I swayed them to walk over here. That's okay, Steph, Mr. Flippy says. I'm glad you're over here. Huh? I said out loud. Yes, I'm thinking about buying this old mansion. It just recently was put on the market. It is advertised for $500,000, and that's cheap, Mr. Flippy verbally expressed with a convincing tone in his voice. We all walked back home. On the way back home, I say to Steph, Dad, guess who moved the stuff out of the closet? Dad. Mr. Flippy says, I didn't move anything out of the closet.